If you're watching football as hard as it deserves to be watched this season, you need California almonds. With 6 grams of energy-giving protein, you'll have the stamina for the happy jumps and the angry convulsing. Visit almonds.com and own every day of the season with California almonds.
Hey guys, Golic here. We want to thank Allstate for teaming up with the Golic and Wingo podcast this season. Allstate is also teaming up with fans across the country to let them know about the magic of mayhem. Mayhem during college football season is inevitable, be it good or bad. Whether it's a backup quarterback leading his team to a second-half comeback in the national championship game or the countless number of rivalries across the country, mayhem will definitely leave its mark. Simply put, mayhem in college football cannot be stopped. Unfortunately, it's not confined to the stadium. Fender benders on the way home, popped tires, cracked windshields, mayhem is everywhere. That's why I'm here to remind you that in those crazy moments off the field, Allstate is here to help. Leave it to me to cover the mayhem in the game, but stick with the experts at Allstate to cover the mayhem off the field. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem. For expert advice, call your local agent today.
For those of us that wanted a little controversy and chaos with our college football, thank you very much, because we got it now. Golic and Wingo with you, ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. By the way, check out our Twitter feed at Golic and Wingo for full details on our college football playoff contest. We'll get to that in a minute. You can also follow us on Instagram at Golic and Wingo, but we got stuff.
Yeah, we do. In case anybody may have missed it, Notre Dame's in the playoff.
Yep.
Yeah. Notre Dame is in the playoff.
I immediately
like not up for debate.
Decision.
No. There's no if this, then that.
What about
if this? What about this? Notre Dame is in. All you Notre Dame haters, deal with it. And for those that want to get, I can't wait till you guys get blasted in the playoffs like 2012. You know what my answer to that is? We're in it. You can't win it if you're not in it. So you have a chance.
We'll put that on a shirt. Let's go.
There you go.
There you go. Notre Dame has had some trouble protecting the lead Saturday in the Coliseum against USC, but they did. And protecting the lead once they got in front, brought to you by ADT. Considering home security, consider this. For 140 years, ADT has helped stop more crime than any other home security company. Visit ADT.com to learn more. All right, fine. Let's talk more about Notre Dame. Let's do it. Congratulations. Let's bring in college football analyst Jonathan Vilma joining us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get triple action protection for optimal engine performance with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. My Lord, that's always a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Vilma, save us. Say something about somebody else besides Notre Dame just to start, just to make me feel better.
Just to make you feel better.
We do Who won the weekend around here, Vilma? Who do you think in college football won this weekend?
Man, it's got to be Ohio State. They won this weekend. I mean, they've got everybody up in arms about should they be in, should they not be in. And I did not see, I don't think anybody saw that type of beatdown coming for what could arguably be Harbaugh's best Michigan team. It was definitely his best defense. Maybe not the most talented, but it was his best defense, and they beat him up.
Well, they certainly did. So Jonathan, let's stay there for a second, because Ohio State clearly won, in your opinion, and I concur, but then that means Michigan clearly lost. And I don't know if Urban Meyer owns Jim Harbaugh, but I think he's leasing with an option to buy. What is it about this Michigan team that cannot find a way to get past Ohio State? 0-4 now.
It's the same issue that LSU has against Alabama. When you take the players, you can argue that Ohio State has a bit of advantage, slight advantage, nothing major, nothing to where they couldn't beat Ohio State, similar to LSU, where they have enough talent to beat Alabama. But when the coaches line up and decide the game plan starting on Sunday, for whatever reason, Harbaugh and Michigan wants to go uber conservative as opposed to saying, you know what, that hasn't worked for the past 7 damn years. How about we go and try to open this game up? How about we go and attack their weak link on defense? And then how about we get after them defensively and then see what happens? Instead of this generic, boring, we're going to run left, run right on obvious pass downs, we're going to now ask Shea Patterson to make these miraculous throws. He's going to get beat up. He's going to get pressured. I mean, come on, guys. You got to do better. And I'm talking to Michigan. We're talking about Michigan. But it's the same thing with LSU. I'm like, dude, You have the best skill position players in all of America besides Alabama. These guys can run. They're fast. They're big. Use them. Use them. And they never use them. Michigan doesn't use their guys the right way, and that's why they keep getting beat.
And we saw Ohio State and Paris Campbell really get used the right way. That guy ran roughshod over most of Michigan's
feel
defense.
free to not be man up and crossing routes. You're just getting destroyed. Feel free to adjust somehow, some way.
Somehow. And so, I know for Dad, you and for Jonathan, it had to be frustrating as defensive players watching that and just seeing the same thing over and over again happening to beat this Michigan defense, no?
Well, that goes back to coaching, right? So we had Urban Meyer say, okay, you want to play man defense, press man, we're going to go and attack your slowest guy, Brandon Watson, and we're going to run crossing routes away from him all day long until you adjust. And I'm looking and saying, wow, you know what? That's a really good game plan. They have a nice opening drive, and then Don Brown tries to adjust, go into a little bit of zone. They bust coverages left and right. You have remember that touchdown? He was wide open. I can't remember the receiver's name. Wide open in the end zone. It's because they're busting coverages now. And then it's like, well, if you can't play zone because you haven't played it all year, you're busting coverages. You got to go back to man. Every time you go to man, Urban Meyer's saying, and Ron Day, they're saying, great. Where's Brandon Watson? That's a GOAT. We're going to go and get him.
Talking to Jonathan Vilma, who knows a little bit about the top of the college football heap, 2003 national champ at the U, first team All-American. Oh, then he gets drafted in the first round, pick number 12 by the Jets, and he's the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year that year. So worked out very well for Jonathan. So worked out well for Ohio State, worked out well for Oklahoma. So the question, Jonathan, is if we think it holds true that and Bama beats Georgia and knocks them out of this, who gets that fourth slot between Oklahoma and Ohio State if they both win?
Ohio State gets the fourth spot. If everyone wins out, no upsets, and all the favorites win, Ohio State gets in over Oklahoma. And Ohio State would get in because they have at least shown that they can play college football, top tier, number 4 team football in all three phases of the game. So the Oklahoma and Oklahoma fans and myself, I love watching Kyler Murray and love watching the offense. The issue is that Oklahoma has never put together a solid game where you can actually see the potential of the defense, where you can see the potential of the special teams. We know offensively they can run with anybody, but they can't stop anybody on the defensive side. And even for their best games, the games that they get up for, the West Virginias, the Texas games, the games you're supposed to get up and be like, all right, we're gonna flex our muscles defensively. They couldn't do it. And Ohio State, you say, yeah, they lost to Purdue by 29 points. Okay, they lost to Purdue by 29 points. That's a loss, and it's a bad loss. Yet they still have the best win. They have the best win over the number 4 team in the country and absolutely obliterated them. So you can look at the bad loss, you can look at the best win, and you can basically throw out statistics because the eye test tells me Ohio State, they have enough talent when they decide to get up in all three phases of the game. They look like a playoff team. That was the first time watching Ohio State, I said, wow, they look like a playoff team. There's never been a time all season I could say that about Oklahoma in all three phases.
Well, and that's just the thing is Ohio State's been inconsistent all year in a lot of phases of their game.
Right.
Does this recency put enough of a good taste in the committee's mouth? Because Jonathan's right in my mind. This is how much is the best win worth versus the worst loss of any of these teams in this conversation? That's the biggest question the committee's got to ask.
It is. And Jonathan, look, if Oklahoma takes down Texas, then they basically wiped that one loss they have off the board. I mean, because it's interesting.
Right, but if they take down Texas, it should be worth mentioning it's how they win as well. So if they take down Texas in the same fashion that Texas beat them, where they're down 21 points in the fourth, have to make a comeback, and it's a 59-56 game, that doesn't tell me anything about Oklahoma. All it tells me is that they have good offense. We already know. They have poor defense. We already know that. Kyler Murray, if not the best quarterback, the second best behind Tua Tagovailoa. That's all it tells me. So if Oklahoma and the defense of Oklahoma decides they want to bow up and make this a 59-25 game, 59-27 game, okay, then let's talk. Let's see how the game played out. And this is why I love that the playoff committee uses the eye test as a factor, because I don't want to see a 59-56 and have everyone telling me Oklahoma should get in. No way. And on the flip side, I don't want to see Ohio State have to come from behind by 17 points to beat Northwestern. Because then that doesn't tell me much about them either. It's going to be like, well, you know what? same old Ohio State. And let's to really take it a step further. Neither one is going to beat Alabama.
Well,
so
we've been saying that all season.
We can put whoever we want in there at that 4th spot. Neither one is going to beat Alabama, but it makes for great discussion on who gets in.
Well, and this is the interesting thing as we're talking with our college football analyst, Jonathan Vilma, had a great NFL career as well, is that I think that what you're saying, it makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, the committee has sort of already showed us what they thought about both of these teams. Now, I'm curious to see what happens because they had Oklahoma rated ahead of Ohio State. So I think if they both hold serve, I would be surprised if somehow the Buckeyes jumped Oklahoma because of what the committee had already told us.
Yeah, but the committee had it right. They were very accurate in saying Ohio State has looked very inconsistent all year long, and they have a bad loss, the worst loss of the top 6 teams. They had the worst loss by 29 to Purdue, and so they were ranked accordingly. Now, being such a conundrum Ohio State is, they have the best win of the top 6 teams, a complete blowout of the number 4 team in the country who had the best defense in all the land. So now you say, well, we have to weigh the two, and if we're going to weigh the two, or even just say that the two cancel each other out, well, if the two cancel each other out, then you're going to say Oklahoma versus Ohio State. What has Oklahoma shown me in the eye test? What has Ohio State shown me in the eye test? And I'm hoping they watch the games like we do, because if you have, there's, again, never been a time Oklahoma's defense has said, you know what, man, that is a championship caliber defense comparable to Notre Dame's of the world, comparable to Clemson's of the world, comparable to Alabama's of the world. Never, not one time. So it's going to be I know it's going to be a divided room. And if anybody has done, Mike Golic Jr., did you do the mock draft? Have you ever been over to Texas to do a mock draft?
I was down in Texas for the mock draft. I've been a part of that. So, yeah, know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so for the fans out there to understand, because Oklahoma or Ohio State creeps into the 4th spot, let's assume everyone wins out, Georgia loses, and let's say Ohio State creeps into the 4th spot, it doesn't mean that everyone in that room agreed. It could easily be 7-6 Ohio State, Oklahoma, or 7-6 Oklahoma, Ohio State, and then the majority wins, and that team now is in the 4th spot. So it could be that we come out and we see Ohio State at 4, and then half the country's divided, and half the analysts are divided. We're all saying, oh, this team, etc., and it could have been very well the exact same feeling in the committee room.
Absolutely. Talking to Jonathan Vilma, ESPN college football analyst on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. It's Golic and Wingo here, and the debate between Ohio State and Oklahoma is going to be the one that captivates this conversation. But we do have a conference championship weekend coming up, and I heard Peter Burns, our SEC analyst, say something interesting the other day I wanted your opinion on. We're going to get ready to watch Georgia play Alabama in Atlanta. We've known that matchup is coming for a while. He says in his mind, top to bottom, Georgia's the second best team in college football. Do you believe that, and do you believe they have any shot against Alabama this weekend?
To answer the first part, no, they're not the second best top to bottom. Clemson is the second best top to bottom. They have a better defensive line. The secondary is just as good as Georgia, except they just take too many chances. That's why they get beat over the top. South Carolina was getting over the top of them. And quarterback play equal, running game equal or maybe slight edge to Georgia, but I still see Clemson as the best because of the defensive line. And do they have a shot? They definitely have a shot. They need to, again, going back to what I was talking about with LSU and Michigan, they need to open up the game plan, open up the playbook, and attack, man. Just attack Alabama. I've seen many opportunities with Mississippi State when they decided to just get aggressive, with LSU's defense when they decide to get aggressive, where you can put pressure on Tua and you can make Tua average if that's even plausible. You can make him average if you just attack and say, we may give up a couple bombs, but we're going to get after the quarterback. And then offensively, what I loved from Georgia against Georgia Tech was that Jake Fromm was throwing some bombs. And I want to see that versus Alabama as well. I believe the formula is to take 3 shots a quarter offensively against Alabama, take your shots, timely shots, and attack, and let it be. If it's going to be a blowout, it's going to be a blowout. Either that or you're going to be in the game and you're going to have a chance to win.
Jonathan Vilma joining us, our ESPN college football analyst, again, national champ in 2003 with the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2004. So let's throw this scenario out there just because it can't be a college football playoff talk without talking about Central Florida, who unfortunately the quarterback suffers the horrific knee injury and how that may play into it. So we got to believe the 4 this week are going to be Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Georgia, and then let's say Oklahoma, Ohio State for argument's sake, and then probably going to be UCF. So let's throw it out there. If Oklahoma and Ohio State both lose in their conference championship games and Georgia loses, who goes in first? Georgia, even with a loss to Bama, or do they put UCF in knowing that their quarterback won't be able to play?
Well, unfortunately, UCF was left out of the playoff discussion from the very first ranking. When UCF was undefeated with a healthy Mackenzie Milton, they as in the playoff committee, put UCF at number 12. They put a 1-loss Florida above them. They kept a 2-loss LSU above them. They're telling UCF, there is no way we're going to allow you into the playoff. And unfortunately, we can say, okay, Ohio State loses, Oklahoma loses, and Georgia's sitting there with 2 losses. They're going to put Georgia in with 2 losses over UCF. And I'm not even going to talk about the McKenzie situation for a second. It's that they said there's too much going on with the other teams, and the competition is too great with the other teams versus your competition and versus your strength of schedule for you to be in the playoff. And that started from week 1 when I looked and said, wow, they really put UCF at 12. And then I ran through scenarios trying to figure out how can UCF get into the playoff, and I was like, it's not possible. It's not possible because of what they showed with the 1-loss and 2-loss teams that they put ahead of them. And now with the McKenzie injury, it makes it that much worse for UCF because that unfortunately can be used against them where they're going to say, they could say, I don't know if they're going to, they could say UCF is not the same team with Mackenzie Milton, so they can't be one of the 4 best teams anymore. It stinks, but it may be true, and we'll find out on Saturday if it's true or not. But I know that they are, if it's Georgia and UCF, they are on the outside looking in. UCF is on the outside looking in. Georgia would be in.
All right, we'll see how it shakes out with the rankings coming out tomorrow. Always good to talk to you, Jonathan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too, man.
So one of the questions I have as well, and this will be asked after this ranking, because, again, it's going to be Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Georgia.
Yep.
So do you think there is any way, Mike, that whether it's Oklahoma or say it holds and Alabama beats Georgia,
yep,
Oklahoma, Ohio State, either one of them has a chance not only get into the top 4, but jump Notre Dame at 3? Or do you think Notre Dame is locked in at 3?
I think based on what we've seen, there's a very real chance they could get jumped. I mean, look what Ohio State did down the stretch of that season where they ended up jumping TCU in the rankings when they went out there and put 100 on Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game.
Right.
If they go out there against a Northwestern team that played to within 3 of Michigan and played to within 10 of Notre Dame, and Ohio State looks like they did against Michigan, and all of a sudden there's 50, 60 points on the board, that's where you talk about Notre Dame being off on that. I know we've gloated about it today. Yep. Being off of that college championship weekend, depending on how that goes, especially how the committee ranks Ohio State, and Oklahoma in this ranking, that's going to be telling. Yep. But if they rank Ohio State above Oklahoma, then absolutely, if they have to go out and have a great showing in the Big Ten championship, I would not be shocked if they jumped them.
It is interesting because the committee has a choice now to make. What's more important to them, a huge win or a really bad loss?
Yeah,
because Ohio State has both of them.
They have both.
Right?
They have the best win and the best loss.
They have the
and
best
the worst
win
loss.
and the worst loss.
Right.
And what's more important, because Jonathan said it there, Oklahoma's defense has been consistently bad all season long, but their offense has been who they were. Ohio State's been inconsistent overall during the season. They played one very good game against their best opponent.
Right.
How much are we going to weight that?
Yeah, I still think that Oklahoma has the driver's seat ahead of Ohio State, but we'll see how it shakes out going forward. Golic and Wingo brought to you by 100 Flowers. You know it never goes out of style, surprising a friend and loved one with a buy one, get one free multicolored rose bouquet for $29.99 from 1-800-Flowers.com. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Okay, again, the big announcement today, we are taking care of you in the way we always do. We're going to send 4 people plus a friend, so really 8 people, to the college football championship, Mike, and it's real simple. All you have to do is follow us on Twitter with some very specific rules.
Yes, listen, we know you are dedicated, big-time college football fans. That's what we're looking for, and we want you to now prove it and earn your way to Santa Clara, California for an incredible trip. But this is what you have to do, okay? You have to follow us at Golic and Wingo. When you submit your pitch, it can be either a tweet, a photo, or a video. The video needs to be 30 seconds or less. We love them when they're longer, they're fun, but there's just going to be so many, we have to cut it off at 30 seconds. So 30-second video, a photo, or a tweet. You have to use the hashtag GWChampContest. So that's Golic Wingo. GWChampContest, and tag the @Golic Wingo handle. Do all of that. And what we're looking for is creativity, originality for sure. Got to have some pettiness in there. Fit the show, man. We are petty, be petty, and make it a celebration of your college football fandom. And when you win, boy, are we going to treat you to a nice trip.
You get a great trip planned. So the grand prize winner gets to bring a guest, and you get a 3-night, 4-day trip to the 2019 College Football Playoff National Title presented by AT&T in Santa Clara. You get round-trip airfare, that 3-night hotel stay, meals, game tickets, plus access to our ESPN VIP tailgate before the game. You're also going to get to go to the Saturday evening All-State party at the playoff, which I can assure you is a great time. It is a long night. It is a great time. And Sunday evening's AT&T Playoff Playlist Live. So you get that. You get behind the access to all of our people down there. And it's everyone down there. It's Kirk Herbstreit. It's everyone. Maria Taylor from College Game Day. Tom Rinaldi's going to be down there just making people
cry.
I've seen people just burst into tears in the hallway in front of Tom Rinaldi.
This is Tom Rinaldi.
Yeah, it's just automatic. So you're going to get that full gamut of experience just by entering our
contest. You get treated like kings and queens. It is phenomenal. So again, tweet. Either a tweet, a photo, or video, less than 30 seconds, at Golic and Wingo, hashtag it GW Champ Contest, and make sure you tag at Golic and Wingo handle, and you have a great chance to come to California for the college football championship.
Make sure you're following at Golic and Wingo, too. You've got to be following the account already, so I don't want you to miss out on a technicality here.
ESPNradio.com give you all the rules.
That has all the official rules. The only thing we care about is the actual sounder.
Right.
We had it down to 2, and we're going to play them off right now. You ready?
Yes.
We're down to 4.
We're still down to 4?
Down
to
4?
Yeah.
Well,
4.
okay, I get what you're going with. So here's the first one. We like that one.
No,
but then we added Junior to it.
Football. Oh, see, now that's solid.
Okay.
That's then we like this one.
Football.
All right.
Now after the other one, that one just seems like a little lesser.
Yeah, it does.
And then there's this one.
Wow. There you go.
Whoa! What?
Cliff.
Pull the room.
The lone defector.
Pull the room.
That was trash. Oh, my goodness.
All right, play the second one and fourth one.
Football.
It's a good one.
That's a good one. Or
I'm voting 2 early.
Ooh. Too early?
No. So the first one you played there, the second one on your board. The one with Junior.
That one? Debbie?
I saw what you had to go through to get that low on that voice. I'm going with that one.
I appreciate that.
All right, so we're split. Cliff is obviously going with the one with Junior's voice, right, Cliff?
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
All right.
Allie? She's on
Team Wingo.
There you
Team
go.
Wingo.
Evan? She's on Junior. Gordon?
Junior.
All right.
Ooh, wow.
I'll take the L.
Wow, I was kind of leaning toward you, Trey.
God bless you.
Yeah.
So are you going to, though?
Well, I mean, are we making this a true democracy, or are we just ask them because we were being nice and we're just going to choose?
You do what you want.
Play him again.
You're gonna hear it a lot. Just keep that in mind.
And then put up Mike.
Football.
Oh no! No, that wasn't even the right one.
Football. Man, this is a real pickle.
Wow.
We'll decide next.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
We'll decide that, and are we wasting another year, one of the glorious performances of all time in the history of the NFL at a certain position? We'll get to that.
Support for the Golic and Wingo Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Let's talk about buying homes for a minute. Because of rising interest rates, there's a lot of unpredictability when it comes to buying a home these days. It's causing a whole lot of anxiety with folks. Well, our friends at Quicken Loans are doing something about it. They're calling it the power buying process, and here's how it works. Quicken Loans will verify your income, assets, and credit in less than 24 hours to give you a verified approval. This gives you the strength of a cash buyer. Then once you're verified, you qualify for their all-new exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, they lock your rate for up to 90 days while you shop. Now here's the best part. If rates go up, your rate stays the same. But if rates go down, your rate also drops. You win either way. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Golic. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply. Based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data record. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
My name is Lauren. I'm 33. I didn't want my identity to be the smoking mom. My first experience with Juul, I do remember being like, this is good. It's like a cigarette, but not. I don't miss smoking at all. Like, I can officially say it grosses me out.
Juul is the tobacco alternative that delivers nicotine satisfaction without cigarette ash or lingering odor. Make the switch at JUUL.com/sports.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
All right, Golic and Wingo with you, ESPN Radio, ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. Don't forget we have our contest out there. Check our Twitter feed at Golic and Wingo for full details on how you and a guest can get to the national championship game, courtesy of us, airfare, hotel, meals, parties, VIP experience. Is going to be great.
4 winners, by the way.
Yes.
4 winners, and each has a guest. So we're not just taking a couple people. We're taking a group of people. Going to be a lot of fun.
Again, the official rules are on ESPNradio.com, but check out us at Golic and Wingo for how you can enter. It is going to be our gift to you during the holiday season. By the way, we have decided to let Jeff Saturday be our arbiter for the college football contest sounder.
Really?
He will choose among our remaining 3 options.
Okay. Unless he chooses the wrong one. Then
we
he
can
doesn't get
override.
to choose. Right.
We can always veto.
Okay.
We can always veto.
Our name is on the show.
That is correct.
Yeah.
His is not.
Okay.
Well, we're going to be nice to him when he joins us in just a little bit.
We'll act like we care.
Here's the question. Do we care that the Packers are maybe ruining yet another season of Aaron Rodgers in his prime?
I mean, some of the greatest fans in all of sports are Green Bay Packer fans, as we know. I mean, it's ridiculous how loyal they are and what a great football city that is. And not only the players, obviously the ones out there playing, but the fans have to be thinking that as well. Yeah. We have Aaron bleeping Rodgers going here. Guys walking into the Hall of Fame. And by the way, is not by his stretch having his greatest years either, even though, he only has 1 touchdown, or one interception. 1 interception and 19 touchdowns. To say that and say he's not playing well is somewhere. But every time we say Aaron Rodgers, we think of otherworldly performances. And they haven't been that all the time. And certainly he has some rookie wide receivers. His tight end was out most of the game yesterday, breaking in a new running back the last few weeks. But still, when you're Aaron Rodgers, when you're Tom Brady, when you're Drew Brees, you overcome that stuff.
Correct.
That's why you go down as some of the greatest to ever play the game. But time is running out there. They signed him to that deal. You think they got another 5 years with him, but you just wonder when management is going to say, you know what? It's not working between Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to be there.
He's not going anywhere.
He's the one constant on that team. Everything else is pretty much expendable right now.
Correct.
Including the head coach. And you wonder if they're going to say, we got to start making some hay with the time we have left.
Exactly. And again, they're 0-6 on the road. The last time they started 0-6 on the road, they finished. They actually started 0-7 on the road. They finished 5-11, and they're 4-6-1 right now. And the question becomes: a lot of Packer fans are wondering, are we wasting Aaron Rodgers in his prime? And Aaron sort of alluded to that after another game where they came up just short.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely frustrating. Obviously, got a lot more gray in the beard than I did a few years ago. So I know that football mortality catches up to everybody, and you never want to lose a season, especially when you felt great, starting the season out about our prospects. But we're going to battle the next 5 weeks and put ourselves in a position to be in the conversation, and hopefully it'll be enough. And like I've always said, you just got to get in. So we got to win these 5, see what happens.
Well, they got to win 1. I mean, I know he's talking about 5. You've got to find a way to win a game on the road before anybody's going to believe in you, right? But the question then becomes, if we don't believe, and I do think that some of the problems are that he's got these rookie wide receivers. Randall Cobb has been in and out of the lineup. Devontae's been in and out of the lineup.
Right.
Jimmy Graham was there, but not really because of the broken thumb and the splint that he had on his finger, on his thumb last night. Do we think massive changes are coming in the offseason in Green Bay?
Well, forgetting massive changes is the one going to come at the head coaching spot.
Correct.
That's the one that we have been talking about, the kind of flirting with. We've already seen him, get rid of one of his favorite players in Jordy Nelson and his quarterback coach. So you start to go the other way and say, okay, bring in Aaron on this stuff and say, we got a few years left with you. What direction, possibly do we go? And I'm not sitting here saying that you should sit down with your best player all the time and decide things and make them, make the decision or help the decision. But to have a conversation with an Aaron Rodgers, with a Tom Brady, with a Drew Brees, and pick the other sports of great players to get their input, I don't think is a bad thing at all, because you have invested everything in them. Correct. You are not winning a Super Bowl in the Aaron Rodgers era without Aaron Rodgers playing well and things going well. So my thought is always, it doesn't hurt to talk with them. Yeah. See what's on their mind a little bit as well when you have completely invested in that person. Yeah,
it's funny, though. I'm glad you brought up Brady, because in things that's happened in the past, it doesn't feel like Belichick has had those conversations.
No,
with
that's
Tom.
exactly right. But then again, we always put them in a separate conversation of Bill Belichick.
Correct.
You know what? He's doing just fine making the decisions.
Correct. 5 Super Bowl championships, 8 appearances since 2001. It's absolutely ridiculous. The other thing that sort of gets lost in this conversation, how much do we actually believe in Minnesota? I mean, they took care of business. Kirk Cousins played a very good game. He distributed the ball very well. They moved to 6-4-1. They're getting that 1-2 punch of Latavius Murray and Dalvin Cook back in the running attack. But this has been a team that basically said we're $84 million into believing this guy is the missing piece. Are we there yet with that?
Well, listen, I mean, they're right there. He had a big game last night, certainly compared to Aaron Rodgers. He definitely had a big game, because I know there are those that are going to say, could they have done just as well with Case Keenum in there instead and not had to pay all that money and guarantee all that money? But, you look at a guy right now, he's got 22 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, completing over 71% of his passes. You'd have to say it's working out pretty well. And I know you just don't take everything off of the stats, but the defense, quite honestly, had been the part of that team that we thought had kind of let them down a little bit. Thielen has been ridiculous. So I think Cousins has been playing just fine. Their next 2 games at New England, at Seattle.
We'll find out.
Those are a couple of really, really tough games, as they're still looking up at Chicago, a team they'll play the last game of the season in Minnesota.
So a big step forward for Minnesota and more questions for Green Bay. Coming up, a question about perfection for the stat nerds, because we don't get it.
Dell's Cyber Week sale for small business is on. Save big with massive deals on office essentials like computers with 8th Gen Intel Core processors and the latest servers. Even other top brand electronics and accessories are on sale. Plus, get free shipping on everything. Quantities are limited. Dell's Small Business Technology Advisors can help you find the right tech for your business needs at Cyber Week prices. Just call 877-BUY-DELL or visit Dell.com/SB Cyber Week. That's 877-BUY-DELL. Here you go. You have to be at Golic and Wingo.
It's Golic and Wingo.
The pettiest show in America.
Nailed it. Golic and Wingo brought to you by Dell. Dell Cyber Week sale for small businesses on. Save big with massive deals on office essentials like computers with 8th Gen Intel Core processors. Dell Small Business Technology Advisors can help you find the right tech at Cyber Week prices. Visit Dell.com/SB Cyber Week or call them at 877-BUY-DELL. I thought I really kicked off that contest well by not being able to speak.
Killed it. It was awesome.
Thought so.
Okay, one other thing we'd like to kill, because we don't think it's awesome, is how you calculate a passer rating in the NFL. It's one of the reasons, by the way, that ESPN, I want to say about almost 10 years ago now, came up with QBR, a scale of 0 to 100, in sort of qualifying how a quarterback plays. A passer rating, a perfect passer rating, is 158.3. So any number that starts with 158.3 seems to be not good. It seems to be a little crazy. So we had a situation, Mike, yesterday's game, when Phillip Rivers had not thrown an incompletion, and yet his passer rating was not perfect.
So our researcher, Dave Gordon. Dave
does a great job.
David, tell us,
Dave-O,
the last time there was a perfect passer rating in the NFL and what the stats were.
All right, so there's been 2 games this season. Where there's a perfect passer rating.
Okay.
It was Big Ben on the game against Carolina.
5 touchdowns that game?
Yeah. He went 22 for 25.
Okay.
328 yards. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Okay. And that was a perfect passer rating, 158.3.
Perfect passer rating.
Okay.
Another one was Jared Goff, earlier this season, against the Vikings. There's been 12 perfect passer ratings since 2006, which is when QBR started.
Right. Has any one of those had no incompletions during the game?
No, because Rivers would have set the
exactly.
Record.
Yeah, I was just trying to
you're setting it up.
Setting it up here.
I'm with you.
So the last perfect passer rating was Ben, 22 of 25. Last I checked, that's 3 incompletions.
Correct.
328 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Perfect passer rating.
158.3.
I happen to look at the stats for Phillip Rivers after he completed his 25th straight pass, which, by the way, is a record for an individual game, the start of a game, and tied the record for over 2 games with Ryan Tannehill, 25 consecutive completions. Phillip Rivers, 25 for 25, 224 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Passer rating, 143.6. What the hell's going on?
Well, I think I know what's happening there. And
You do?
Well,
you can explain this to me.
No. I want to be clear about something. I understand how they got there. I don't believe in the metric, but I can show you, David, if you'll ride with me here. Clearly, there weren't more yards per attempt is what we're looking at here, and fewer touchdowns, right? That's the metric. Because here is the metric that the NFL uses. It's crazy. The NFL passer rating formula ranges on a scale from 0 to 158.3 based on completion percentage, yards per attempt, touchdowns per attempt, and interceptions per attempt. So going by that metric and how it's formulated, kind of like A Beautiful Mind or Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover trying to work the cards in Las Vegas, because Ben's numbers were significantly more in yards per attempt and touchdowns per attempt. That's why he would have a higher rating. Correct, David? Isn't that what we're looking at here?
I mean, I think the interesting thing is there's never been a perfect QBR since 2006.
Since the metric came along.
I think that's because, right, if you're 22 for 25 like Big Ben was, you're not perfect.
Correct. You throw an incompletion.
But they gave him a perfect passer rating.
The passer rating was perfect.
The passer rating is perfect with 3 incompletions. Stupid. Yet a guy goes 25 for 25 with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's not perfect. You know what that tells me? Your system stinks. Your system stinks. In case you didn't hear me, your system stinks. I mean, that's laughable, is it not?
Well, listen, you know how I feel.
It's my understanding that there would be no math.
I'm not doing the math. I mean, they give you a little chart. Put in pass attempts, put in completion, put in yards. I agree. If you have not thrown an incompletion, you are doing your job perfectly.
Listen,
you are doing your job perfectly.
There is no pocket protector wearing guy that could come on this show and tell me why that shouldn't be a perfect passer rating.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know what there were. Basically, the average was 4 yards in the air. I get it. But if it was so easy, more people would have done it than 25 or for 25.
That's my favorite thing. They talk about in air yards.
Yeah.
Right? Air yards is a huge metric. Okay, David, I may be putting you on the spot here. What was Phillips' QBR in that game on a scale of 0 to 100?
You're talking about yesterday's game?
Yeah, this last game.
I don't think it's in yet. I think it takes them like about a day for it to.
All right, so we'll get the QBR.
We'll get to the bottom of it by tomorrow.
I'm sure it's in the high 90s, which would be about right. But to me, the biggest problem with passer rating, how do you get to 158.3?
I don't know.
That's what I want to know. I mean, that's the whole reason QBR was invented, because I think we can understand 0 to 100, right? I mean, that's an easier line of demarcation. If 158.3 is the bar we're trying to get to begin with, we're at the wrong bar, and we're asking for the wrong drink. I mean, that's sort of the way it goes with me, right?
25 for 25, 224 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 143.6. He finished the game 28 of 29 for 259, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and his passer rating dropped to 138.
All right, we'll try and figure that out. You can figure that out, Jeff Saturday. No, he can't. Oh. But he'll talk about a group of young horses charging in the AFC. Plus, he's going to settle a tie that apparently I thought wasn't a tie, but okay.
As a young boy, Gavin loved playing football. He lived and breathed it, wanted to go pro. Why, he'd spend hours upon hours just practicing his touchdown dances. And one day, while getting fitted for bifocals, he realized he was never much good at throwing, or running, or catching, or even kicking. Yeah, Gavin's chances of playing pro football were looking like 4th and long. Very long. But he did hear how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. Then he did kind of a touchdown dance. At least he was still good at that.